That is oh so right. We did indeed scour the planet for the best of the content creators of the YouTube world of Clash. And those guys are right here and they're ready to show you why they're the best. So without further ado, it's my privilege to introduce you. And guys, put your hands together for the one, the only, it's Alvaro. Followed by a man who needs very little introduction, but I'll do it anyway. It's Chief Pat. Next to him, it's the big boy himself. It's Clash with Ash. Followed up there by the man, the myth, the legend. It's Doty. Right next to him, one of the nicest people I spoke to today, and I'm definitely not lying there. It is Jan from Orange Juice. Then a guy who's creative, wonderful, and a devilishly handsome fella. It's Nick at Night. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, make some noise, because it's Godson. And then rounding off our mighty eight, it is the man, the legend, the one, the only. It's Molt from Gaming with Molt. YouTubers digging into what's going on. You always have questions out there wondering, what does it take? So I'm joined by the wonderful Pat and Ash. Gentlemen, first off, how are you doing here today?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling pretty confident about our play. I know I've played against Ash in tournaments before, so hopefully we'll get a chance to match up again and duke it out.
I want revenge against Chief Pat. I want revenge. You know, the very first YouTuber tournament, you smoked me pretty badly, pretty embarrassing, so we'll have to wait and see. But having a lot of fun so far, Sean.
Now, there's a lot of players out here. There's a lot of players watching at home. Lots of them, of course, know you, follow you. Everybody wants to emulate you guys, which is wonderful. But what sort of advice, what sort of things do you think it takes to become, you know, a pro, become really knowledgeable in the Clash universe?
In terms of like a content creator, I think, you know, the biggest thing is consistency. It's really big, and especially in mobile gaming, if you know, create consistent content, and but most of all, just be yourself. You know, if you have a quirky personality or you have idiosyncrasies, don't be afraid to put them forward. People like genuine people, so just be genuine. You know.
Yeah, for me, I hope people don't always try to emulate me, because I've had maybe a couple too many rage moments on my streams. But yeah.
That's what people like too. You know?
People do like that. So stay original, keep to yourself, and let your personality shine through.
Stay original, keep yourself. That's very good stuff. Now, one of the things that, of course, is so important about YouTube is your video content and how you guys position that, how you guys present that. And you both have unique styles to that. What really makes a video ready for you to share with the people out there?
I think for me, I just like to, if I like the video, then I'm ready to post it. Sometimes I rewatch them and I nitpick a little bit too much, and if they don't come out just right, then I put the cookies back in the oven, I let them cook a little bit longer, and then sometimes it comes out perfect. So it's got to pass the eye test.
I agree 100%. And just to piggyback on that a little bit, I think that, you know, sometimes you might screw up, and I know Pat and I are both big fans of just like doing one takes and leaving in screw up sometimes. So like I said, just to add personality and also like listen to your audience. And shout out to all my subscribers. I love you guys. And
sell out.
But yeah, honestly, you just got to be true to, you know, what your fans want and what your viewers want, and you know, just do your thing, be yourself.
Be yourself, absolutely always the best answer. Now, lots of people are getting into Clash. I'm sure lots of people are downloading it right now. And I can tell you one of the most useful things, and we've all been there playing, is understanding what are you doing those first levels? Where do you want to take your cards? So let's take a look at a video that's going to go through levels 1 to 4.
So my best piece of advice for a new player who's just learning to play the game would be to always try to fight on your side of the map. Your towers are so powerful when you're taking on your opponent. If you can fight on your side of the map, you should be able to build up an advantage.
For example, if you use archers, plant them in the center, pulls the prince to the center, so both towers will lock onto it.
I think it's really important to utilize the first epic card you get, whether it's the skeleton army, whether it's the prince, whether it's the baby dragon. Those tend to be really powerful.
Me, myself, I would go with a giant or a hog rider, or maybe even both. And then you can go ahead and add some splash damage like a wall breaker or a wizard and kind of move from there. Having a defensive building is also pretty important to distract your opponent's troops.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back once again. It is me, Molt. Super stoked to be here with you guys today because we're going to be talking about preparing for tournaments. So first, why don't we talk about preparing for the crowd, preparing for playing against so many people. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. There's the nerves that go into it. There's just kind of dealing with the surroundings and knowing that people could be watching you. There is a lot of stuff around deck building and preparing and trying to figure out who you're going to face and all these sorts of things. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that today and look more specifically at a couple of these things. When it comes to preparing for the pressure of all of these people around you, the best thing for me is just being able to seclude yourself, okay? So whether that means wearing a hat or wearing headphones so that you can kind of shut yourself off and practicing like that at home or wherever it is that you're going to be playing, because if you have your headphones in and you can't hear the sounds around you, a lot of times that can kind of help you put you in the zone, especially if it's something you're familiar with when you play or practice like that at home. Some people may wonder, do I need to research the players that I'm going to be facing, like the big guys? I would dare to say no. I mean, in general, it's just better to know what kind of decks are working right now, how to defend them, and how to play them. So you shouldn't only come in knowing how to play one deck or knowing how to defend one deck. You should come in knowing how to play multiple decks, whether that's a Lava Hound deck or whether it's a Hog deck, Royal Giant deck, Mortar deck, whatever it needs or whatever it is. You either need to know how to play it or you need to know how to defend it. So if you don't enjoy one specific style of gameplay and you don't think that you'll be playing that, you need to be able to expect it and know how to defend it with the type of decks that you enjoy. Just like anything in life, practice makes perfect. I've always said that. I've always understood that. The more that you practice with a specific deck or the more that you practice defending against a specific deck, the better you're going to do. So if you're struggling against a certain type of deck, have your friends play you and you need to get better at defending it and knowing when you can push and when you defend, etc., etc. Practice is going to make all of this so much easier. When it comes to deck building strategies, it is a lot of fun to build your own sometimes, but that also doesn't mean that that deck is going to be very good when there is a meta that's already been sort of discovered. So with the King's Cup coming up, it would be good to look at what other YouTubers like myself, Nick or Pat or Orange Juice, any of them, all the other guys, look at what they're using in friendly battles and see how it works. Also, you can go join tournaments, do challenges, things of that, and see what is winning. That's what you need to do because what is winning is most likely going to be winning at the King's Cup and other tournaments that you take a place in. I hope you guys learned a lot today about preparing for a tournament. Again, biggest thing is be comfortable. Make sure that you know what you're getting into, and obviously if there's going to be a lot of players around you, then practice with headphones on, or practice with a hat on, practice with a hoodie on, whatever it may be. Practice in a setting that when you are at the King's Cup, you can still feel like you are in that setting yourself. And remember, when it comes to decks, you can have fun and build your own and try and surprise people, but make sure that you know and research what is popular at that time, knowing how to defend it and how to play it yourself as well.
Hey, what's up, guys? Nick here down on the arena floor, and I've got two players joining me from Heat 1. We're going to get a little info on them of what was working and what wasn't. So if you guys can both give me your name, player name, and how you've been doing here in Heat 1.
Yep, my name is Demetrius Lumpkin. My player name is Elite Tyrant, and I finished about 66.
My name is Kyle. My player name is Bad News. I finished 63rd in Heat 1.
Demetrius, 66, unfortunately not top 64. I mean, what deck were you using? What was working and what wasn't working there for you?
The deck I was using was the Mortar, Musketeer, Skeleton Army type deck. It's a very defensive deck. I feel like it's not very good against things like Inferno Towers or other friends, stuff like that, because the Mortar just locks onto that type of stuff. But what was working is whenever I got the Mortar free to go on the tower, it did devastating damage. So if you can get on the tower, for sure, for sure.
That's pretty cool, and we haven't seen many mortars, so props to you for bringing that out here for the tournament. And then, Kyle, what deck were you using? And sort of the same question, what did get you into the top 64?
I use a deck that consists of a Dark Prince and a Hog. Basically, what I would try to do is I would try to push two different lanes, also with my Princess, trying to keep the opponents off balance with the lane he would want to push. And what really gave me the most trouble was a Golem deck with the Baby Dragon over it, and also the Ice Golem when people use it as a Hog push.
Good stuff, good stuff. So a couple very different decks with a couple very different counters for them here, but that's going to do it from the arena floor. We're going to throw it over to a tips and tricks video from Yarn.
It's a orange juice.
Orange juice here with some quick tips. Musketeer and Ice Spear can shut down a minion horde minor combo. You can pig push with any single unit, you just need to plant it before the hog. You can pull a P.E.K.K.A, then send in a log and push it across the river. An Ice Golem can kite many different types of units very effectively. Goblins can kite the baby dragon to its death.
Another fantastic video created by yourself, Yarn. Well done. It's what we expect from you. I've got to ask you, though, and it's across the board a question. Currently, in your opinion, what are some of the best decks that are out there?
Right now, I think the most popular card would be the Golem. It's seeing such an uprising. Just recently, it cost the Elixir, and it was too much of a commitment. But we're starting to see it's proven in a lot of tournaments. I was actually in Paris a few days ago for one of the tournaments, and the Golem was a prevalent deck. Right now, I think it's going to evolve a little bit more to that, and it's going to advance to be an even stronger deck.
Now, there are so many movements, as you just pointed out there, within the cards as they kind of, tweak and move the game. How do you, as a pro, keep up to date? What's your source to make sure you're ahead of what's going on in the card game?
I think one of the best ways to learn about the new metas and the best tournament decks is just to play in a lot of tournaments, observe the top players, and of course, all the YouTube videos.
Well, we know that we're about to get into a game. Do you have any predictions for cards we might see coming up here in our first matchup?
It's hard to say right now. It's a little bit too early, but I'm going to say that we're going to be seeing a lot of golems.
A lot of golems, it sounds like it. Well, it is time for us to go over to Kelly and Caledon. Please, Yarn, do stick with me because I want to talk more with you later. For right now, let's get this underway. Over to you. Indeed, we said a very, very interesting matchup there. And you pointed it out to me, Yarn, that there was a tower taken down in under a minute. How much do you think that affected the flow of the game?
It was really unfortunate. I mean, with Pong just knowing how to control his and count the elixir and the card rotation of everything, he just knew to send in the hog immediately to take it out.
And so, when you see that, what would you give as advice to kind of keep in the game in that moment?
Despite losing the tower, it's never a loss. Just keep playing and don't falter.
Well, there's going to be lots more action, and we have actually heard that one of the players only needed 15 minutes to come top of that first group. So that's Tiam Dieo, I believe a player that you know or have heard of. So looking forward to hearing more there. But for now, we're going to go up to Kelly and have a look at some top 5 gameplay.
Welcome back, everyone, to the caster's desk. It is myself with Galadon, of course, and we are going to be looking at the top 5 plays where you're going to be casting over them.
Or so I've been told, yeah. So top 5 plays of battles that we've seen so far today.
That's right, and let's just get right into it, everyone. Let's see what amazing plays that have been going on.
All right, so I'm going to try to take a look at these. We've got an earlier battle that Hyphonics and I casted. This would be the Ashe versus Brian battle. And you see that Ashe's Golem goes down the left lane, not countered at all, completely ignored by Brian. And that is going to enable Ashe to grab that second tower, even though Brian is coming back. Great counter to the graveyard, and he grabs a tower, but Ashe, in the meantime, grabs that second tower, ends up taking this one 2-1, with the Golem just kind of serving as a lesson. Any troop like that left by itself, not countered at all, even low DPS is going to take out a tower. Then right here we've got Hobbs versus Strix. We saw this one earlier. You can see that Royal Giant trying to get in there, and the Giant Boulder, he had finally got it in as a pair during overtime. Hobbs right here, and you can see that Giant is going to get to the tower and just takes a couple of shots. Not quite going to finish off the tower, but the arrows did it, and that was that game right there. For the third play, you can see here, there's a Lumberjack trying to sneak in behind the Golem. The Golem off to the left. Second Furnace trying to distract that Golem, pull it away from the tower. It eventually gets there, and as Golemites under rage, one solo Golemite grabs that tower, and that's the win for Clyde right there. This next replay, we've got the Golem again moving in. You don't see this as often. Hog Rider Golem. The Hog sneaks in behind the Golem, grabs that tower despite the fireball, and that was a tie right there. Agile Poet tying it up 1-1 as that game went into overtime. Eventually, you can see right here, well into overtime on the right-hand side, you've got that Mega Minion countered by another Mega Minion, but the Hog Rider from the middle grabs that tower. That middle deployment is always super hard to stop. And then we've got another one. This was the YouTuber battle right here. Camaro Bro Cam doing his best to try to hold off Pong TV, but the rocket in his pocket, that is a tough way to lose. But Pong grabbed the win right there.
I mean,
well into overtime.
We've seen a lot of plays today, and we've seen a lot of cards. To go more into the cards, let's go to Godson.
Thank you, Kelly. If you guys are like me and you want to get that golden trophy and that cash prize, I have 4 cards that are really good that can help you out. They're my favorite. I have the Giant, my #1 card. He's a meat shield. He can break through defenses, and he can get in there and take out towers really well. So you need the Giants because they're good meat shields. The Hog Rider, he is really fast. He can jump over rivers. He's really good at getting to towers and taking them out really fast. So you need Hog Riders, and he has a partner in crime. The Goblins, they have concealed weapons, and they shank people with it. So what more do you want? Use Goblins to take out troops really fast like Giants if they're coming with you at meat shields. And the Zap, you need Zaps if you have waves of enemies coming at you. It's good to zap them and to take them out really quick with Zap weapons. So you guys, I have a tip and tricks video for you. If you want to check out more tips to help you out, check it out.
What is up, guys? This is Godson bringing you a quick tip in Clash Royale. So in the game, there are many types of decks, but knowing which ones are right for you can be difficult. So as an example, here are 3 deck types that are commonly used inside the game. We have a spawner deck, a cycle deck, and a control deck. Spawner decks are usually decks that comprise of troops that are spawned from barracks or any types of cards that produce troops. They usually flood the enemy and overwhelm them in numbers. Cycle decks are usually low-costing decks that keep the enemy on their toes as you cycle through troops, sometimes faster than your enemy can defend. Control decks are usually powerhouse decks with cards like Golems, Lava Hounds, or Giants, and you will typically see cards placed behind these meat shields so that they can push harder for the tower. There are many types of decks to choose from, so whatever deck you choose, make sure it's right for you and fits your playstyle.
Well, we know that there's always a lot to play for here, and we know that our YouTubers have let's say, a need to show that they are #1. So how best for them to do that, but with some friendly, cheeky, and as you would expect, fun wagers for them. So without further ado, let's head over to Patton Yard, over with the rest of the creators, and see what they're brewing.
All right, well, we are here for the Witch versus Wizard Challenge, and it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a wager on the line, the WWW.
I'm going to be picking the blue team.
You're going for blue?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
I'm going to be going for red, and the stakes are that the loser is going to have to wear the Jester hats inside of their bracket picture. That's intense.
Well, I'm glad I picked blue because blue's going to be the winner.
I don't know about that. Well, we're going to get into our match of red versus blue in just a moment. It should be good. Lots of really good gameplay so far. I'm excited to play some of the players later, and it should be a lot of fun, man. What type of deck do you think you're going to be bringing out later?
I don't know what I'm going to be playing, but I'm going to be expecting a lot of golems, possibly with a combination of the graveyard, just because at first it just came out recently, so I'm going to maybe build a deck against that.
Yeah, the golem's been ridiculous, but let's go ahead and get to the game right now between red versus blue. Again, Team Red versus Team Blue, and it should be a good time. This is going on for the bracket stage. I mean, it can't be any more silly than my performance.
I did cheat a little bit. I did know blue was going to win.
Ridiculous. All right, well, looks like we're going to go ahead and toss it back over to Sean.
Bets, wagers, and lots more. You're back at the desk, and I'm joined by the absolutely wonderful Nick and Molt. Guys, heat #1. It's wrapping up. It's getting intense. Talk me through it. How have you seen things?
I've seen a couple familiar faces bringing out some quite extraordinary decks. We saw a little bit of Golem in a previous tournament that I was watching, but now it seems to be quite dominant. I know a friendly face was using it, and he was just steamrolling his way into the top 5.
And not only the Golem, but a lot of Expo, and a lot of people know how I feel about this card, but I've seen a lot of it, so I know I need to prepare if I'm going to face it. Not really too sure.
Now, when you look out, we are now coming down to the 128 that'll go through to the next heat. Do you see any guys there that you're like, okay, I knew that this person was going to go, or do you see anybody that you think has been a bit of a surprise?
I know we've seen a couple heavy hitters make their way from across the globe here and showing up, which is Elite Crews. They've been training like crazy nonstop while we've been rehearsing and practicing here. They've been making their their presence known, but I haven't taken a look and see if we have many like newcomers making the top 8.
There's definitely some recognizable names, but then some also that I've never seen before, never heard of.
I've actually heard a rumor that somebody, and I'm going to try and get this name right, so apologies if I don't do it right, it's Team Diego, who actually played for around 15 minutes and already in that got himself through to the top of that leaderboard. So we might be able to see more on that later. Does that sound crazy to you?
I mean, if he went flawless for 15 minutes, maybe, but it seems like a quite difficult move to pull off advancing with only playing a quarter of the entire heat.
Yeah. Wow.
We'd have to take a look.
Well, guys, let's have a look at the top 8 because that's where we're going to find out. I hope we're going to be able to see them right now, which will mean we will be telling you who's there and who's going through and how they're doing. So I think we can see right there at the top, that was TMD Yeo, I'm trying to do a better job now, who is actually right there at the top. So it isn't a myth. It isn't now going to be legend, but it's happening. What does that make you think?
Wow.
I want to know what tricks he has up his sleeve going forward into Heat 2 because that's really impressive.
And if they were just a lot of 3 crowns or what, because it could go into 6-minute battles. So.
Now, and you can see here, right here, we have the top 8 of Heat 1B. Any names you recognize there? Obviously, YouTube, Pong TV, a big, big favorite. We saw a little bit of him earlier. What are your thoughts?
The guy at the top, Pong TV, I've actually been watching his videos a lot lately. Very skilled player. Definitely recognize him. Dart Jar Jar, recognize that name.
But then there are a few that I just have no idea, so which is really cool to me because I don't know how their play style is going to change from what they've done in Heat 1 to Heat 2. So it's going to be anyone's game.
Absolutely anyone's game, but I will ask you, because you are our absolute champions here, you're 8 of the best, are you beginning to feel a bit of the nerves and the pressure?
It's the one thing was we knew there would be these heavy hitters coming in, and we're like, oh, maybe they'll just get drowned out because there's so many people competing here, but it looks like we're going to have to end up facing them if they continue with the success they've shown in Heat 1.
Yeah, but it is really good to see names that we haven't seen before and see underdogs come in with play styles that we're not expecting or that we've never seen before.
Well, guys, I absolutely love talking to you, so I hope you're going to come back and sit with me lots more later. For now, we're just going to wrap that up, and we're going to tell you, don't go anywhere, because there's lots more action happening, and you get...
Oh, wait, hang on. No. Thanks, Kelly. So, as you guys know, we've just wrapped up Heat number 1, and we're going to be bringing you the rules and breakdown for the remaining heats as we advance on to the top 8.
Yeah, and after this heat is done, this is heat number 2, Nick. After that, we're going to go ahead and go to heat 3, where it will narrow down to the top 8. Which will move on to the round of 16.
So we've got 3 heats that are 1 hour each. The first one is done. The second one's underway. They're going to follow standard tournament rules. And then what happens to those lucky 8?
Well, Nick, it's funny that you should ask because the top 8 will move on to the round of 16 and square off against us, the YouTube All-Stars.
Well, you'll be facing yours truly, but that's going to do it for the rest of the format of the tournament. We'll send it back over to Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, things are absolutely heating up here to a boiling point level. We're getting underway. We're working out how to find out those players that are going to duke it out, take that step closer to taking that $25,000. But on the way, we have to do our Witch versus Wizard Razor. And as you remember, that means it's our great 8, the great 8 of YouTubers that are there. They're doing it. They're coming up with it. So without any further ado, let me go over and pass it over to 2 lovely gentlemen, Nick and Molt.
All right, so Molt, I know we have this Witch versus Wizard wager, and we've got our cards kind of pre-selected who we're going to pick. I'm going to go with red.
And I am going with blue.
So red, I'm going to go ahead and get TMD Yao Yao.
Well, he's blue.
Oh, whoa. I'm Q Ginger?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we're going to watch this match here.
Thanks, guys. So I'm here on the floor, and the energy is really good. There's lots of people out here. It's really hot, and the competition is heavy, so I'm kind of nervous fighting these guys right now. Hopefully I'll do good, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream, the live stream. So back to you guys.
All right, well, welcome back to the Creators Lounge, guys. My name is Chief Pad, bringing you guys the top 5 plays we've seen so far in the tournament. Now, we've seen a lot of action. Things have been getting pretty insane. Lots of Golem decks, Graveyard decks, which is my personal favorite card right now. After opening up a couple chests to get those done. Let's go ahead and check out those plays right now. And starting off, we're going to go ahead and check out this battle. It looks like Taro and Bon Mi. Now, 1 tower was already down on the bottom left. We've got a Giant Guard and Mega Minion combo. You don't see too much Giant Poison anymore, so lots of other supplemental cards to be able to help it out. That Giant's making its way towards the tower. But as you can see, it looks like Taro was pretty desperate because there is a Golem hanging out all by itself. And as the time runs out, that should be pretty much it for the battle. 2 golems beating down on that furnace, but yeah, that's going to wrap this one up for a pretty solid win for Ban Mi. Now, all these players are trying to qualify for the top 16, which only 8 of them will be able to play against, which obviously is the 8 other YouTubers who they will be competing against. And let's go ahead and check out that second top play. We've got another battle right here. The Giant 3 Musketeer deck, and look at that lightning spell. That lightning spell was amazing onto those 3 Musketeers, but Beto's running that Giant and 4 Musketeer deck. That deck has been so strong, and this battle came all the way down to the wire. We've got a Giant Mega Minion and Ice Golem push down the right-hand lane, and as that Giant reaches the tower, it's going to smack it all the way down and bring it to 0 for Beto's 1 crown. Now for play number 3, we've got Levi G versus Dot Bash. Levi G has been near the top of the leaderboard for this entire tournament. He's been playing extremely well, and he's running the Golem and Inferno Dragon deck. Now, such a strong deck, especially with the buff to the Golem as far as its death damage goes, and he takes that tower down. And as Dot Bash goes for that last second crown on the bottom left, he didn't have enough to pull it out, and that was yet another 1 crown to 0 victory, staving off that lightning spell. Now later on in the tournament, we saw a couple of notable clans, including Crucible Wrath right here, and as the game went into sudden death, the game was almost completely tied. Now the Lava Hound push, which is one of my personal favorites, made its way towards the top or the bottom right, but with the lack of elixir right there, that tower is going to go all the way down to 163, making that Lava Hound play just be a little bit too greedy for his liking. Now for play number 5, this should be the final one. We've got Furvox versus Ignacio, and with full health on his towers, Furvox was going ahead and trying to defend against his push, but take a look as the Golem and Graveyard combo does work on that bottom right-hand tower. One of my favorite plays inside of the entire game, but it did leave him open to a counter push, which you're gonna see right now. Double Ice Wizard, Lightning Spell, 2 Ice, or plenty of stuff hidden that side of the map. That tower is going to go so close down to 0 as they're still in overtime, and this match proved to be epic, an important one when it came to qualification. Now finally, another Golem, or another Ice Golem and Graveyard push. He was able to hold that off with an Ice Wizard and his own Ice Golem in the bottom right. And with 1 minute and 45 seconds left on this 3-minute overtime tournament standard, things came down to the wire. The tower's all the way down to the 200s. He's rolling the log down the lane. Another Graveyard push is going down, though, and the Graveyard stole the victory with a couple of seconds left with his life on the line for that tower. So awesome stuff for these plays, and it's been an exciting time inside this tournament. I've been having a lot of fun. It's been great being casting. I can't wait to play inside of the top 16. And for more action, let's go ahead and hand it over to Kelly and Ash.
Thank you so much, Pat, and welcome back to the Caster's Desk, everyone. We have a new guest, the King. No, it's Clash with Ash, everyone, and Hyphonics up here, where we're going to be checking out a few games coming up very soon. Now, Ash, we've seen a lot of players today, but I want to know, is there someone that you haven't seen that you want to see today?
Well, Kelly, I have my eyes on quite a few players out there today. I mean, a lot of them have actually been on my channel. Shout out my channel. But no, there's a really lot of skilled players. I mean, one of the guys from Elite Nation who's a really, really good player is HBG, and he's a good cycle player. And I'd like to see what he was doing. I know that he was in the top 3 for a while there. Then he took a little fall. Kind of see what's going on with him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see a lot of very competitive people coming out here today. Yeah. Going such a distance, so
I
can't
know.
wait to see them play.
So many familiar names. Like, seriously, I recognize probably a quarter at least of the names in the top.
That's crazy.
Top 50, yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look actually at a game that HBG was in coming up very soon.
Today would be a day with highs, lows, and some unexpected plays. We talked about it a little bit, and nobody really saw this one coming. I can tell you now, and we did touch on it a little bit before, Yao Yao, one of the players, TMD Yao Yao, has actually done something that nobody has seen before. He went ahead and played for literally 15 minutes, top of the leaderboard, and just said, that's it. I've done enough to make sure I get through to the next round. This guy is out for blood. He wants to prove himself, and I can guarantee the YouTubers are probably quaking in their boots, and rightfully they should. There's so many good players out here. Of course, you guys playing at home, tuning in at home via YouTube, we want to hear from you. Reach out to us, let us know what's going on. But as always, from the very top of the table, there's also the bottom of the table. And for the guys that are still here, still hanging out with lots to play for, Malt's down with 2 of them right now.
Hey guys, I am here with a brown bag, as you can see, on his head, and Tyler. These two guys were the first and second place players in the satellite tournament. Did you have a good time?
Heck yeah, I had a great time competing in the satellite tournament.
All right, Tyler, what about you?
One of the most fun things I've done in a while.
Cool. So they definitely had a blast down there. Now I'm going to ask y'all a couple questions. All right, so a brown bag.
All right.
First of all, why is there a bag on your head?
You mean my face?
Okay, so that's your face.
Yeah.
What deck did you use that got you the victory?
Graveyard Cycle. So a 3.0 graveyard deck where you just spam graveyard for game.
All right, so Graveyard Cycle, it is a very strong card right now. Tyler, what about you?
I used a Lava Hound arrow bait with like minions and a minion horde. It's been working pretty well for me with the Tombstone. I've gotten pretty far, so
awesome.
It's worked pretty well.
Cool, so are you guys going to be sticking around for the rest to see what's going to happen?
Oh, heck yeah, I wouldn't miss any of the cool side events.
All right, sounds good. We're going to go ahead and throw it back over to Sean. Thanks, guys.
Back here at the desk, we are joined by Elvira. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me all the way from Madrid, Real Madrid. How are you enjoying today so far, sir?
Okay, it's been amazing, this tournament, so thank you very much, Sin, for having me here. And yep, the trip was pretty long, but today it's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Now, we have got literally hundreds and hundreds of players out here. Are there any recognizable faces for you, people that you know from the community or perhaps even from back in Europe?
Well, I was surprised because I met some fans from the Hispanic community from here, the LA. So I'm really surprised to meet fans here.
Now, for you, what does it mean when you have, gaming and a game as much fun as Clash Royale that brings everybody together in such, I mean, this really is a great vibe here. The energy is good. Everybody's playing for keeps. What does that do to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, apart from a great game, Clash Royale is about people, about clans, about clanmates. So those moments, those kind of meetups or tournaments are the best moments of the game.
Well, one of the best moments is definitely whenever you get lyrical and wax on knowledgeable about what's going on. So let's take a look. You've actually made a video for us with tips and tricks on Miner. Do you want to tee it up?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Si tiras el minero en cualquiera de los lados interiores de las torres, lo único que vas a conseguir es que te disparen las dos torres simultáneamente. Es mucho mejor que tires el minero en las caras exteriores de las torres, porque ahí solo le puede disparar una torre a la vez.
Kind of play it safe. So I think it's smart to, even if you could go on to be #1, who cares about